Hey everybody, Roger here. I want to talk to you guys today about some pretty sad news. There was a woman this morning at about 1:30 a.m.-ish who ended up getting stabbed to death, for lack of better words to use here, by a young man who was 20 years old. She was a Lyft driver, and she was also in her third trimester. She was pregnant, possibly trying to do her best to make ends meet by being a Lyft driver, you know, getting out there and earning her money, earning her keep, and trying to keep, you know, her family afloat, is what I would assume. And yeah, this heartless man takes her life. So what I want to go ahead and do is just kind of recount, not specifics of what happened, but overall general item what happened here. So a guy who has only recently been identified around 5 o'clock p.m. today. Today is Monday, January 28, 2019. He goes by the name of Fabian Mauricio Durazo, and he's right now, you can check out his disgusting mugshot online. He's booked at the La Plaza County Sheriff's Office, number 190883, date of birth February 3rd, 1998. 5'11" and weighs 130 pounds. He looks like the twig that he is, because he can only use knives to basically do whatever he wants to get his way. The scary part is a lot of people are saying that he looks like the Night Stalker Richard Ramirez, which I can see the resemblance, but then in some of the pictures what's kind of scary is these two kind of look like me when I was younger, so that's don't worry, people. I'm not. I'm not like that. But anyways, this guy was in the early morning hours. I guess he, you know, just like everybody does when they get Lyft, they, you know, find a driver, and she came along in her SUV, picked him up, and I guess they went a couple miles, and he stabbed her and was apparently stealing her vehicle. He stabbed her multiple times, and she's screaming and screaming, and the apartment complex, it looks similar to one that I used to live in, you know, when I first moved to Tempe, way back in the early 2000s, and I'm pretty sure this is the same neighborhood. And so she was running around, and finally these people, she's banging on the door, and this couple, an Indian couple, open up the door, and they see that she's all bloody. They attempt to do whatever they can to help her. And they're already traumatized. I mean, you could tell just from the interview that they had that very, very traumatic situation. They were hoping for the best. They were doing whatever they could to save her life. And, you know, she was bleeding on the doorstep. They got gauze. They got whatever they just, you know, perform whatever kind of thing that they needed to before the police arrived, or before the ambulance arrived. But she dies soon thereafter. In addition to her dying, he's also being charged with killing her baby. So yeah, she was pregnant, she was in her third trimester. I'm not sure what kind of a heartless person does this, but I have an idea, and I'll get to it towards the end of this video, with a couple of credible pieces that I can add to this to add to the credibility of my assumption. But before we get into any assumptions, I want to say that he also ended up driving to Quartzsite, Arizona. He was just a couple miles away, I believe like 20 or 30 miles away from the California border. And then it would have gotten a little hairy at that point, but they managed to apprehend him in Quartzsite, Arizona, and I guess they did it through GPS tracking and whatnot. I'm not sure if she left her cell phone in there, but I'm pretty sure the vehicle must have been equipped with that, and the cops were able to put two and two together and apprehend him. He did a little bit of a standoff, not really with any weapons or anything, but he didn't want to get out of the vehicle, and then finally he got out, and you know, he willingly gave himself up. Now, people were also going to say, just like in the last video that I made in regards to that California mass murder that killed 5 women in the bank, SunTrust Bank. Everybody's like, oh, well, that kid's white. You know, they let him go easy, and he's being cuffed. Well, this one here looks, you know, for lack of a better word, he looks more foreign than even I do. So yeah, he looks like he's not from America. And again, there's reasons why I say that at this point. Again, it's all assumption. It's all assumptive at this point. There hasn't been any. I've been looking, and I have not found anything that is outlining his residency, his status, or anything. So I really can't comment on that to the point of fact, but I can definitely say with opinion and his actions that they mimic that of the machismo that's coming from these areas that don't know how to acclimate to America, and feel like they can get their way just by killing people or abusing people or beating up women or beating up children, things of that nature. So yeah, I have an assumption at this point. So this woman, like I said earlier, she is a Lyft rider. She was a Lyft driver, and I wanted to go ahead and read Lyft's weapons policy. I'll read it online just for you guys all to understand what's going on here. Lyft has a strict no weapons policy for all of its properties. This includes Lyft hubs and service centers. Our no weapons policy applies when you are doing business as a representative of Lyft, meaning if you're a driver, which includes times that you are driving for Lyft as well as times that you are visiting a Lyft hub. This means that even in places where it is legal to carry a weapon, we ask that you do not carry a weapon on any Lyft property. We approach this from a community perspective. It is hard to know what someone else is or isn't comfortable with. Okay. The mere presence of a weapon might make another community member distressed and fear for his or own personal safety. Again, if you're a driver, you should be able to get in with your at least a concealed carry, get a concealed carry permit, and be able to drive safely. And again, it is the company's policy, and you have to abide by them. But think of the things that could possibly have changed if this was to happen. I'm not saying that this woman was probably even a guns rights advocate or anything, or if she would own a gun or a firearm or even a stun gun or pepper spray. But you can hide it. Just because you hide it does not make somebody uncomfortable. People are always going to assume everything about anybody anyways. Whether you're a Lyft driver, an Uber driver, anybody out on the streets, you just don't know. So this line here that says a weapon might make another community member distressed and fear for his or her own personal safety, that's a moot point. If it's concealed and it's hidden, at least here's the thing: what you can change here, Lyft and Uber, if you're listening. I believe your policy is similar. If you allow this policy, and granted, you might have some people who are going to be a little skeptical about it at first and be like, well, I'm not going to drive with Lyft or anything anymore because now they changed their policy to allow people to carry if they needed to. Well, you know what? I, for one, am okay with it. If it would have saved this woman's life, pepper spray or whatever, or even a stun gun or something that could protect her, you would have saved a family here. That's where I'm getting at. It doesn't matter. They don't care. At a minimum, a weapon includes any form of firearm. There are many items that could be considered weapons besides firearms, such as handguns, stun guns, explosives of course, knives, slingshots, and tasers. Now again, I would assume at the very least, stun guns and tasers should be okay, and pepper spray. Lyft reserves sole judgment on what else may constitute a weapon. If you have any questions about whether various items could be considered a weapon under this policy, please contact Lyft support before bringing any questionable items onto Lyft property. Okay, note, the general policy above does not apply to authorized security personnel. Obviously these are drivers, they're not security, or employed by Lyft, or to law enforcement personnel. If you witnessed possession of a weapon in a Lyft vehicle, please let us know by tapping contact support below. Well, guess what? I'm not going to do that, but I'm pretty sure you know that there was a weapon now in your vehicle, your driver's vehicle, the passenger, the asshole passenger that she probably could have protected herself against. I don't know. That part bothers me quite a bit. That needs to change, Lyft. And, so this guy, he's Fabian Durazo. He's 20 years old. Police say he stabbed a pregnant mother multiple times Sunday morning at a Tempe apartment complex. So it basically happened a little outside of it, and she was, I'm pretty sure, kicked out, dropped off. They don't give specifics on that. But she was running around the complex until she found a door where they opened it up and they let her, they try to save her life. So Kristina Howato was, apparently they didn't know each other. At least that's what the narrative is at this point, that he was just somebody who she saw in the app, picked him up, like any other business, you go out and do your thing. Yeah, okay, so specifics here. Police do say that GPS led to Durazo's arrest in her car in La Plaza County. This is saddening to me. I mean, when you have a mother, again, she leaves behind 2 kids. We don't know if she has, you know, a husband or anything like that, or any other family. All they've brought up were the kids. So I'm assuming that she is a single mother trying to make it in the world, or was a single mother trying to make it in the world, and this asshole comes by and destroys that for her, destroys that for the kids as well. I don't give a shit what your background is. I don't give a shit if you were abused, if you were sexually abused, physically abused, if you were whatever abused. You're an adult. Even if you're not an adult, your anger shouldn't ever go towards somebody that's innocent like that. If you have anger, go start a hobby or something, or go talk to somebody about these things. Again, I have my past where I've had my abuses, a lot of the things that happened to me in my past, and I would never want to harm anybody or put my anger onto somebody else. Now, I'm not saying that this kid actually had issues, but if that's the excuse that he's going to use, whatever. We don't know. They don't know if he has a legal representative for him yet, so that's still in the works at this point. We're trying to figure out. But overall, the reason why I have my opinions about this guy is because of the heinousness of the crime. And it's always with men who attack women. Usually, what I've covered a lot in my videos, I'm going to mention a couple here right now. Javier Figueroa. He had a pregnant wife. This was in South Tempe, West South Tempe in the ghetto. And apparently, they were living with each other. This couple here was living with each other. And he must have gotten very mad at her, drunk or whatever, and shot her in the head. And then he leaves. And I'm pretty sure with the weapon. When he comes back, the officers are already there. 20 minutes later, I mean, he comes back after this whole thing happened because neighbors called the cops, and because they heard that, the gunfire. And he's like, oh, well, I don't know what happened. The gun just accidentally went off, and they saw blood on his shirt, so he had to basically confess that he left and came back. Again, this is a guy who probably threw away his weapon. I have not followed up on the story, so I don't know the specifics of the aftermath of that. But he is one man. And then within the same month, 2 weeks earlier, prior to that, was Dimas Coronado, who I coined the taco hat murderer. He, fucking cold-blooded killer man. His estranged wife or girlfriend was living with another man, apparently, and I believe that they were just friends. And I'm not sure what sparked it, but he ends up basically just shooting her in the head. And oh, and just one other note: that last woman was pregnant, and I believe her baby, Javier Figueroa's victim, was okay, was born. I believe that there was an emergency C-section or something, and the baby was delivered. And they saved the baby's life, but they didn't save the mother's life. So that's that story. But Dimas Coronado ends up murdering his wife, also murdering the baby, his pregnant wife, murdering his young daughter in the process in the womb, and then decides that he's going to flee Arizona with his 2 boys. That it's maddening. And then obviously earlier in the year, the other guy I covered was God, what is his name? I don't remember his name right now, but he was the guy who Luis Brackamontes. He ended up killing an officer in cold blood and attempting to kill another civilian, and then he killed a second officer as well, I believe. I could be mistaken on that right now. My brain is kind of fuzzy on that. But we're taking care of these people in our prisons. This guy, he gets a life sentence, and they're wasting away in our prisons on our tax dollars. And again, Nancy Pelosi, you're saying that this growing acumen of accumulation of illegal immigrants committing crimes and staying within our prisons is not adding up to an expense for us. That's all. We have a very high population of illegal immigrants committing crimes that are in our prisons. And it's something that has to be done. I mean, 110 to 120 billion dollars every year that we spend on illegal immigration. Everybody says, okay, well, no, that a lot of them do contribute. No, the only thing they contribute is to the wealthiest pockets, and also to their own pockets that they end up actually taking the majority of that money back to Mexico. I mean, it's not helping us any. And then these and the social services that they use. I mean, does the 100 show me a statistic that shows the 110 to 120 billion per year in social service expenses, medical expenses, etc. that outweigh that makes it less than what they contribute. There's nothing. There's nothing. They don't contribute as much as what we give out. It's an unfair situation there to the American people. So, anyways, I'm only going to bet on this at this point. I'm 80% certain that this guy is probably an illegal immigrant, illegal alien, I should say, illegal alien. And that's because the habits of these three people that I just mentioned already are very similar to the cold-blooded actions that this guy did. Killing her for her car? You gotta be kidding me. I mean, I really do hope that we see justice with this. I mean, I'm wondering what's going to be happening to the kids at this point. I'm going to keep following this. I'll probably follow up with it because this one, again, it's pretty sad, and I just want to basically see if there's going to be a resolution to it. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you think that Lyft's TOS's weapons policy has anything to do with this at all? Do you think the mother probably would have been armed? At least, even if the option was there, do you think she would have probably had that, I don't know, the idea to actually probably be armed in that situation? I kind of do. Whether it's a 5 or 10% chance, if she was going to actually purchase a firearm or not to protect herself, or pepper spray, or a stun gun, or whatever, a taser, and tase the guy in the back of the seat while she's getting stabbed. God, just imagine the world of difference. You guys got to change your policy. So let me know what you guys think about that. Let me also know if you think that this guy may be coming out as, you know, an illegal alien, and we're gonna have to pay for his ass in prison as well. You know, he's got the ass that'll probably he's got the body and the ass that'll probably be very attractive to a lot of people who want to, you know, give him 20 years of pound me in the ass prison. So, anyways, heartbreaking. What are your guys' thoughts? I'd really like to hear them. And if you also have any follow-up to the story, please link them below. I want my videos to also include links to updates if possible. Like, hate, subscribe, unsubscribe, share. I do love it all. You guys all have a great day. Peace out.